Greater Media Broadcast News.
Welcome to another edition of Greater Media Broadcast News. I'm Susie Shea, bringing you the top headlines in Central New Jersey. Here are some of the stories we're covering this week. Bingo nights, a new substation in Middlesex County, policy changes in state school aid, a new police chief for Red Bank, and the Garden State's 350th birthday. We all have different ways to relax after a long day. Some people enjoy a cocktail or two, while others choose meditation. But some opt to dab numbers on small squares of paper in hopes of bringing home a boatload of cash, or at least a couple of dollars. Thousands of Central Jersey residents play bingo, and they do it for the camaraderie as well as an antidote to the daily grind. Some even say bingo players live 10% longer than those who don't engage in the game of chance. Now, whether that's just wishful thinking, regular bingo players are serious about their game, holding the same seats night after night, bring trinkets to set up around their stations, and enjoying the company and competitive spirit. For more on those who play bingo in Middlesex, Monmouth, and Ocean counties, see this week's editions of Greater Media newspapers. And here's Mark Rosman with more headlines from this week's papers.
Change is coming to the Freehold Township School District in September 2014. Administrators have announced plans to move from a traditional class schedule to a block schedule in the Barkalow and Eisenhower middle schools. In a block schedule format, classes in certain subjects run for 80 minutes instead of 50 minutes. Administrators say the new schedule will better prepare students for the challenge of high school and beyond. The new schedule will allow for a minimum of an 80-minute daily block for language arts and mathematics. Science and social studies will have blocks of a minimum of 80 minutes on alternating days. The issue was discussed at a recent Board of Education meeting when parents came out to express their views and concerns about the change. Board members said the switch to a block schedule is something the district has needed for several years. The block schedule is expected to reduce class size from 28 students to about 23 or 24 students. You can read a full report of that meeting in this week's news transcript.
The end of the year will mark the 350th birthday of the Garden State. Keith Hugh Miller has the details on how you can celebrate.
New Jersey is turning 350 years old this year, and the celebration is going to kick off right here in Monmouth County. At noon on New Year's Eve, Red Bank and the Count Basie Theater will cut the ribbon on the inaugural NJ350 pop-up store, a commemorative storefront that will sell New Jersey-themed merchandise and honor the Garden State's 350-year history of innovation, diversity, and liberty. The stores will pop up in 13 other select communities throughout the state in 2014, including Atlantic City and Trenton. This week we spoke to Count Basie CEO Adam Phillipson about the honor of being selected and why he believes Red Bank is the perfect place to kick off the year-long birthday celebration. We also spoke to members of the various state agencies working to put the NJ350 program together about the importance of honoring our state's long, storied history.
And here's a roundup of headlines from this week's papers. JCP&L is encouraging residents to partake in a new communication network. Customers can sign up on the company website to receive alerts providing information on upcoming storms, outages, bill payments, and meter reading schedules. Milltown received approval to acquire 1.3 acres of Middlesex County open space for the construction of a new electrical substation. This will place the facility on higher ground outside of the floodplain. In exchange for the land, Milltown will give 2.6 acres of borough-owned property to the county. Red Bank now has a new police chief. Darren McConnell took the oath of office last week after serving 25 years on the force. He succeeded Stephen McCarthy, who passed away in September. More than a dozen parcels of Fort Monmouth property will be for sale in the new year. Officials say 3/4 of the fort's 1,100 acres have already attracted the interest of developers. For all these stories and more, see your Greater Media newspaper today. And here's Bruce Johnson of Greater Media's WCTC with an update on the Rutgers men's and women's basketball teams.
Before I update the Rutgers men's basketball season to date, one quick word about the Scarlet Knight women. Vivian Stringer is coming off her first and much-needed signature win of the 2013-2014 season, upending number 16 and previously unbeaten Georgia 61-58 at the rack. That is a big step in the right direction for the Rutgers women to get back on the national landscape, and a big win for Stringer in the option year of her annual $1 million-plus contract. All right, now on to the men who are simply floundering under first-year head coach Eddie Jordan, whose return to his alma mater has been anything but successful. In their final non-conference game of the season, the Scarlet Knights barely beat 3-7 Army, the 284th best team in the nation according to one poll. A Miles Mack three-point field goal with 3.5 seconds left bailed Rutgers out in a 75-72 win at the rack. But Rutgers finishes out the non-conference portion of its schedule at a disappointing 6-7 overall, including 6-5 at home, with losses to the likes of Drexel, William & Mary, and Fairleigh Dickinson, not to mention a loss to in-state rival Seton Hall. What is going to happen when RU tips off its first and only season in the American Athletic Conference in the new year, taking on the likes of defending national champion Louisville and nationally ranked Connecticut and Memphis in home-and-home series? I shiver to think we quite possibly could be looking at the worst Rutgers men's basketball team since the Craig Littlepage era, or error, back in the mid-1980s. With all that said, though, happy holidays to all of you Scarlet Knight fans. I am Bruce Johnson on 1450 WCTC and WCTCAM.com.
Community members in Marlboro are shedding light on drunken driving and its dangers. Here's Jack Murtha.
The holiday season often brings families together to share food, gifts, and laughter. But this special time of year also results in an onslaught of drinking and driving. Community leaders, parents, and high school students gathered at Marlboro High School earlier this month for the township's 20th annual Candlelight Vigil against impaired driving. There, school and municipal officials delivered heart-wrenching speeches to steer young people away from the dangerous act. Some spoke of Marlboro residents who died at the hands of drunk drivers, while others listed alarming statistics. Students created videos that highlighted the consequences of their actions, along with the value of their lives. The yearly Candlelight Vigil has been a bittersweet moment for Marlboro residents for 2 decades. Despite changes in venues and the loss of some former participants, the message has and will continue to be the same. For more information, check out this week's edition of the news transcript.
Policy changes in the calculation of school state aid has some local officials grumbling. Here's Kenny Walter.
Local school districts, including those in Long Branch and Tinton Falls, are absorbing reductions in state aid due to a Department of Education policy change that ties aid to daily average attendance instead of enrollment. The state now reduces aid to districts that do not achieve a 96% daily attendance rate. Last week, the Tinton Falls Board of Education passed a resolution opposing the policy that first came into effect in 2012. Long Branch School District Superintendent Michael Salvatore also said last week that the reduction resulted in a loss of $2.2 million in state aid for the current school year.
For more in-depth coverage and additional stories, pick up your Greater Media newspaper today. And from all of us, have a Merry Christmas. This is Susie Shea. Thanks for tuning in.